Hello there, Taurus. Thank you so much for stopping by for our monthly tarot video forecast. This is the forecast for the month of June, and I'm breaking this down into two sections. So we're going to start with June, the 1st through the 14th, and then after that we'll come back and look at the 15th through the 30th. But for right now, looking at the 1st through the 14th, the first thing that I'm taking a peek at does tell me about your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. And what I have showing here is that your environment is one that is very encouraging, very supportive to you. It's one where there's a lot of truth. There's not a lot of deception happening here. And things are flowing smoothly. And basically, overall, just you're happy in the environment. That's the first thing that I'm seeing. Second thing that I'm looking about looking at is your subconscious leanings. And your subconscious leanings are showing that there's something that you're feeling disappointed with. And I think you're rolling this around in your subconscious, trying to look at, how can I prevent that disappointment in the future? How can I make things work out better the next time around? So that's the problem solving that your subconscious is doing at the moment. Next thing that I'm looking at for you, Taurus, has to do with two things. First of all, your communication style. Well, first of all, your learning style, and then after that, I'll look at your communication style. So learning style, it looks to me like you have a lot of information that you're pretty solid with, that you understand, and you have a good depth of understanding to it. I think really what you're doing right now is you're branching out from that information into sort of an offshoot. So you're learning about something that's an offshoot of some skill, I think, that you already know very well. So you're sort of offshooting, expanding, figuring out other ways that you can use that information that you have combined with some new information to do more with the skills that you already are pretty solid with. Now, as far as your communication style, I do think that you have something coming up that has to do with negotiations around money or around compensation during this time frame. So you may be asking for a raise or negotiating a new contract, something like that. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about work during this time frame, and so it looks to me like you may be taking some time away from working during this time frame. You may be doing less work than what you normally would right now. For some of you, you may actually be quitting or walking away from a job even. All right, for some of you, you may just be going on vacation. All right, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. I do see a lot of thought going on here. I think you are working on how to be smart. Especially, I'm hearing, Taurus, how to be smart with your money, how to be smart with your finances, and not only in the here and now, but also looking at the long term. So I think you're really coming up with some strategies and putting them into place during this time frame when it comes to money, especially for others of you. This could have to do with your health and your body, but I think for most of you, this is money and finances, basic financial security. Okay, the next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about something that you stand for. And then when I say something that you stand for, this is something that someone has come to you and asked for an explanation of your actions or your words or whatever, or they've even confronted you. So it kind of depends how much energy there is around this for each of you as individuals. So, which, let me just remind everybody, this is a general reading, so if you want me to look at, your specific individual energy, then you would want to get a private reading from me. All right, so we're going to look at what it is that you're standing for, and then we're also going to look at this person who has confronted you or has asked for that explanation, and we're going to look at how they feel about you in the situation after you've stood for whatever this is. Okay, so it looks to me like there is something going on. Is this Taurus or somebody else? Where Taurus, I think you're trying to cut back on something for a lot of you. Some of you may be trying to walk away from something that's not good for you completely, cold turkey. But others of you may be trying to cut back, or you may have some other strategy about letting go of whatever this is that is not good for you. And I think that after somebody talks to you about this, I think their perception of you is that you've made a decision and that you're sticking with it, that you're being very determined with your follow through on whatever this decision is about walking away from something that is toxic, whether it's a thought pattern, whether it's a habit or a behavior, whether it's a relationship, whatever this is that's doing you no good. They're seeing you as having really, you know, made the final decision here, made up your mind and sticking to it, moving forward, making good progress. Okay, so next thing that I'm going to look at is the lesson or experience that you have during this time frame. Is this Taurus or somebody else? Okay, so lesson or experience, Taurus, has to do with this idea that somebody is making a decision that has to do with you or your actions in the past, or something that this is a decision that affects you. And I feel like this decision is being made in an unfair, in a biased way, in a corrupt way. Basically, the decision is corrupted. So it's not really a good, solid decision that this other person is making, but they are making a decision whenever it comes to you. I do feel like this decision is one that doesn't make you feel very good. This is one that brings some heartache, some pain, some definite sadness here. And I also feel like this other person seems pretty determined that they're not going to change that decision. I don't think it matters here. It's coming up to me that it doesn't really matter what you say or what you do. Because of this other person's bias, they are not going to be changing their decision. And in fact, whatever you say is more or less going to be falling on deaf ears, unfortunately. I'm sorry to see that. And then when we get to the end of this time frame, it looks like there's some disruption in the family, that things are not going very smoothly or very healthily in the family. So communications are not really open. You know, there's not sharing of good moments showing up here. It just shows really a lot of stress and tension in the family life or in the home life. For some of you, this unfair decision is that somebody is going to be getting a divorce, or at least saying that they want a divorce and not really backing off of that idea, at least during this time frame, which is through the 14th. Now that's not going to be true for all of you, but it does look like whatever you guys are facing, this is something that is going to take, you know, some real strength and some mental fortitude and some emotional fortitude to make it through this. So I don't want to make anybody paranoid about what might be coming up, but I think it's a good idea to just know that it's a good time, if you're watching this beforehand, to more or less get in your best place, you know, get in that happy space for yourself where you're the strongest, where your self-esteem is the strongest, because I feel like with what I'm seeing on the table, you're going to need some strong self-esteem to make it through this and get to the other side where things start to feel better again. Okay, so I hate that we have that heavy of a message, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't candy coat things, and I believe that Sacred Spirit gives me the messages to pass along to you that are for your highest and best interest. So I feel like you guys knowing this ahead of time, there's a reason for that. Maybe we don't know what that reason is, but there's a reason for that. So that, you know, you can handle this in a better way, I'm imagining. Now, the other thing that you need to know too is that when we get a reading ahead of time, if we see something that we don't like, then we've got that heads up. We can head it off at the pass. You know, what I'm reading is just the energy as it sits today, and we're not even in June. I'm only halfway through May today, not even. So, you know, you have some time here to make some changes in your normal decisions and, you know, have that outcome change. It's okay to make me a liar. I like it if you can make me a liar if what's on my table is not very pleasant. So more power to you. So anyway, and then also if you want some individual readings, some of you want individual readings to see exactly what this is talking about, and if there's best advice about how to head this off at the pass, you know, all you guys have to do is contact me and we can certainly take a peek at that. But anyway, let's wrap this up and then let's come back and look at the rest of the month and see what happens as the month moves forward, because typically when we hit a low, you know, life doesn't stay in that low spot. We generally come into a high. after that too. So let's see if the rest of the month doesn't shape up a little bit better than this. Thank you very much for being here, Taurus, and I will see you in a few seconds. Welcome back, Taurus. This time we are looking at the time frame from June 15th through the 30th. So let's just take a peek, see if things start to get a little bit more smooth, a little less heavy here. Wouldn't that be nice? The thing about the cards is they reflect life how it is. So it can't always be candy canes and roses, unfortunately, because that's just not how life is. Let's look, though, at the let's look first at your environment. And your environment is one that talks about, we're kind of back to this idea of letting go of something that's toxic. I don't know if this is the same thing that we saw during the first part of the month that you've decided to let go of and that somebody's confronted you about, but I think that this is sort of the same type of energy, only this has to do with the environment now, not something that you're standing for. And in the environment, there's something that is toxic that you're letting go of. So I don't know, maybe your carbon monoxide detector is going off and you have to have some kind of work done. Or, maybe there's a toxic person in your work environment that, you're just avoiding, that type of thing. But there's this idea of getting away from something that could be considered a temptation or could be considered toxic, okay? Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings. Looks to me like you've got a person that you're thinking about in your subconscious, and this is somebody who really looks at everything generally from a very factual standpoint. Just the facts, only the facts, please. They don't let their emotions control them as they're making decisions. They really want to bottom line everything. And so this is somebody that you're really focused on. This is somebody that, is really good at holding a good conversation. They enjoy a good conversation, possibly even a good debate. They like to exercise those intellectual muscles that they have, okay? So that's somebody that you're focusing on with your subconscious. You're really paying attention to them in your subconscious mind. Generally, when somebody's in your subconscious mind, that means you're trying to understand them better, basically. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. So it looks to me like the things that you are finding out about, I think, are first of all, I think that there are some confusing ideas coming in and things that you're trying to find out about. I think that you may not be getting a very direct answer. You may be getting your information in a very indirect type of way right now. And that information may be coming in sort of in a confusing way. It seems to me like some of the information that you're finding out may be coming in from friends. And I think that some of your most reliable information is actually coming in from one friend in particular. I also think that how you're going about getting information at this point for whatever it is you're trying to find out about or research is changing or going through a metamorphosis. As far as your communication style, I do feel like you are trying really hard not to show your emotions as you communicate with anybody. I think you're just trying to hold those emotions in. You're not feeling like sharing those emotions. Let's look at work. We have the same exact card that we got last time for work. This shows not really getting a lot of accomplished, not handling a whole lot of responsibilities. Once again, it may be that you're on vacation. It may be, there's a lot of reasons why that would show up, but I don't see a whole lot actually being accomplished or getting done. For those of you who don't have some type of job or a business where you work, this could be, work around the house or volunteer efforts that you do. Either way, however this fits into your particular scenario, your particular life, I don't see a lot actually getting accomplished as far as work goes. Now, Ba-da-da-da. Next thing that I see talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. We do have something showing up as a disappointment, and it looks to me like you are um, learning, what's the best way to deal with that disappointment? What's the most healthy way to deal with that disappointment? And just the fact that it comes up in this position tells me that, excuse me, tells me that this may be a series of disappointments coming up, or it could be one really big one that is giving you a really big lesson about how to deal with this disappointment. But most scenarios, this is going to be multiple disappointments that show up that you're learning how to deal with. So each time another one shows up, you're actually dealing with it a little bit better than you dealt with the last one. So that's why we have you growing or expanding there. Now, next thing that I'm looking at are those things that you stand for. And it looks to me like, is this about Taurus or somebody else? I think Taurus, I think that you are really focused on money and finances right now. You're really focused on making sure that your budget works and that everything comes together smoothly. And I think somebody has confronted you about that. And after they walk away from this confrontation, whoever this is that either asks for an explanation or actually confronts you, I think that they feel like you're feeling like things are a little out of control. And so they feel like this is your way of gaining control. Like if you can control what's going on with the money situation, then that gives you a little bit of control over one aspect of your life where it may feel like a lot of other things are sort of coming out of control. So, next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about the lesson or experience of this particular time frame. And this, to me, it talks about taking a break, about not doing everything that you would normally do and taking some time to really think things over in a deep way. Make sure that you're looking at them from all angles and really update your perspective on something. So taking a break. As you're taking a break, I think that you are looking also at different options that you have available to yourself to improve your life, to improve certain situations in your life. And so you're looking at these options and considering what would be the best one for you moving forward. Also at the same time, I think there's somebody here that you formerly collaborated with. I don't feel like you're collaborating with that person right now. I think to you it feels like it's not safe to. There's a trust issue having to do with you and this other person you used to collaborate with, and you're not willing to just set your intuition and your emotions aside and just trust this person as if everything's okay, because to you it feels like it's not okay. And then once we get to the end of this particular time frame, where we see you is you've decided that there's somebody that you want to cut off communications with and cut ties with. So you may be blocking them. You may not be receiving any texts or any phone calls from them. You just may not be receiving any communication from them, and you're also not communicating with them either. That this is something that, you're wrapping this up. I feel like this is, you're going no contact with someone here. Okay. So that's what I've got for you, Taurus. It does look like you're definitely in recovery mode once we get to the second half of the month. So that is good, because that means it's only a matter of time before you start feeling good again. I want to thank you all for being here. If you would like to have a private reading with me, you can see how to schedule that in the website in the description box below. I would be happy to help you find some clarity and help you make some good decisions for yourself moving forward if you choose to do that. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for commenting, for liking, for subscribing, and thank you for sharing this video with other people who may find it beneficial as well. Everybody have a fantastic month, and I'll see you back the next time. Peace out.